Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to feature the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette. I have been using this non-stop. It's going in my favorites video. This is actually the palette that I used when I did my No Brands makeup look, but I felt like I didn't give it enough of an opportunity to shine. So I did want to do a standalone video just really doing a nice, very wearable, very neutral fall look featuring this fabulous palette. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. And please don't forget to subscribe because I do upload twice a week, and that is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. Also, I know that I tend to be on the bougie side, but obviously it's BH. This is an affordable palette. Please be proud of me because I've been trying really hard to get more into affordable makeup, and this one is just so good, especially for the price point. It is currently on sale at Ulta for like 13 bucks. So go pick this up, it is fabulous. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So the palette I'm going to be using today is the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette, and since I picked this up, I have not been able to put it down. I think what I love the most about it is the versatility. There are only 5 matte shades, but they do everything you need them to do. So starting off, you have a very flat bone color, which I feel is so necessary for pretty much any eye look. You have your neutral leaning cool transition shade. You have your deep neutral outer V shade. And then you have 2 matte shades, one that is very warm and one that's more of like a camel warmy brown. And with those, you can literally create any look you want, featuring any of the foiled eyeshadows, and even these foiled highlighting shades can be used on the eyes. So starting off, I'm gonna be taking the shade Mirage, which is the big highlight shade right here. I'm just gonna amp up the cheek just a little bit. And I think this is so slept on, and I know that Tati Westbrook mentioned it in a video a while back, that she loved this palette because it is so amazing, and the mattes are super smooth and creamy. So there's nothing on my finger. I'm literally gonna like just one. Like, the payoff is so unbelievably stunning. So obviously I have to use it today. I'm gonna be starting off with this shade right here. It is the neutral transition shade called Canyon. And I'm gonna use that just to deepen up the transition area a little bit. I'm actually gonna zoom you in a bit. That would probably be helpful, that you guys can see what I'm doing. But like, I have no issues with these at all. And I've used pretty much every shade in the palette. That's something I find to be a little bit of a struggle for me, is I'll see a palette like this, and I'll like attack this shade, and I'll go really hard in the face shades, but then there'll be like some random shade down here I'll ignore, or for some reason just get a little bit less love out of, but not here. Then going into Sand, the bone-colored white shade, I'm just going to blend into the brow bone and over the top of the transition area, just to lighten it up a little bit, because I do want this to be very clean. We're going for vampy, but we are not going for grungy. Then going into Dune, right here, I'm just going to deepen up the outer V of the eye. You see how easy that was? Like, these blend themselves out. Dipping back into that first brush with no additional product, I'm just going to blend it all out. Then on the very tip of the brush, I'm going to add just a drop of this deep brown called Nightscape, and I'm literally just going to focus that right on the outer V of the eye and very close to the lash line. And once again, just blending everything out. And now this is like the base for like pretty much any look that I'll do out of this. You can pick any of your foiled shades to really just go in with. I am definitely feeling that vampiness. Oh, that was blurry. I'm definitely feeling that vampiness. So I'm gonna start with Prickly Pear, this shade right here. It is a very cool toned, like foiled bronzy. And I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna focus that over the outer portion of the lid. And I'm gonna stop that about here in the center of the eye where the pupil usually rests, because I'm gonna be ombreing into something else. And for the record, this is a completely dry brush. I am not adding any moisture to it at all, and I'm getting even pigmentation and beautiful shimmer. You can take it on your finger instead, and it will give you slightly more sheen, but that's kind of common with most eyeshadows. Going back into that brush from before with no additional product, we're just going to blend out the edges and make sure we have a smooth transition into that foiled shade. Then going into Terrain right here, which might be my favorite foiled shade in the palette. It is just such a universal neutral shimmer. I'm gonna pack that on the inner portion of the lid. Then taking Dune, I'm just gonna run that on the lower lash line. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Nightscape and just run that very close to the lash line on the outer portion of the eye. Then I'm going to blend that out with a little bit of Canyon. Alright, I'm going to go throw on some mascara and maybe lashes. I haven't decided yet, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did end up throwing on some lashes, and we are getting really like vampy, sultry fall vibes going on. So what I'm going to do now is on a Morphe M506, which is a pointed, fluffy crease brush. I'm going to take a little bit more of Nightscape, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to slightly deepen up the outer V and pull that into the top of the crease. This isn't a cut crease, and we don't want it to look like a cut crease, but we do just want a little bit of that brown. Focus. There we go. We do want just a little bit of that brown going over the crease, just because it's going to add a little more definition, especially since we went so huge on the lashes. We kind of want this to have a little bit more of that like blown out, almost drag vibe without being like full on over the top. So I'm liking it, but it is still very neutral, and I do want to take a little bit of Heat Haze, which is this beautiful bronzy copper shade down here. It almost has like a beautiful red vibe. This shade was the star of the show when I did my no brand makeup challenge. Like, everybody thought I was using Naked Heat, and I had a couple people, like friends in real life, who were like, oh my god, you were using Naked Heat. But I don't actually like Urban Decay Naked Shadows. Long story short, I just don't love them, so it wasn't Naked Heat, it was that shade right there. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of that, and I'm going to just take it where the inner shade meets the outer shade, just to kind of add a little bit of a red fall vibe. Normally I would do this before I put the lashes on, but I thought the lashes would give me a little bit more vampy fall than they are, so I feel like I don't have a choice. I kind of need to amp this up just a tad more. And taking a little bit more of Terrain just to blend the inner corner into that red, just to give us a little bit more of a gradient so it looks intentional. Last thing I'm going to do is just blend a little bit of that outer crease a little more and blend all of this together. And for lips, we are going super vampy. So this is the Pat McGrath Lip Fetish in Flesh 3. And I'm just going to quickly throw this on the lip. Then we're just going to set this in place. And that's the finished look. So this is my Desert Oasis palette look. I mean, if you have looked on my Instagram, or you have looked at basically any look I've done in the past 3 videos, like, I've been reaching for this palette basically nonstop. It was not enough to feature it in a favorites video. I feel like it just needed a little bit of its own chance to shine. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments section if you had a palette like this, which color would call your name, because I feel like I would go right for Hot Spring, the blue. But honestly, that is the only shade in the palette that I've only used once. All of the other ones I've dipped into multiple times. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!